Hi there. So, in this vlog, I am continuing with a journey that I've been walking where I'm basically applying the tools that Destiny is presenting as tools of self change, or tools that you can use within changing yourself, changing your being, and the way that you experience yourself within and as yourself in relation to your world and reality, um, which is the tools of writing to freedom, self honesty, self forgiveness, and self correction. So I'm basically, and I have been walking and applying and using these tools within this specific process and journey of changing just one emotional reaction that I found within myself and that I detected within myself, which was, not even a really intense emotional reaction. I mean, I called it changing a fear reaction towards a person, or towards a person in real time, but it wasn't really. I mean, I wouldn't initially define it as fear. It was more just an experience of feeling generally uncomfortable when I'm in the presence of this person, and like form of social anxiety, of which the consequences in relation to my expression and behavior was that, for instance, I wouldn't easily talk to this person, and I would be very quiet around this person. And I mean, I didn't like that. I didn't enjoy being around this person simply because there was stuff going on inside my mind. For instance, this experience of anxiety and uncomfortability, which was not, cool. I mean, because I would like to be able to simply like be with this person, or be okay with not speaking, or be okay with speaking. It doesn't, to a point where be at a point where it doesn't matter how I express myself, where I can just be with this person in a comfortable way without stuff going on and activating in my mind. For instance, thoughts of, you know, am I supposed to say something? What should I be saying? Or what is she thinking about me? Or does she like me? Or, I mean, it would be those types of thoughts, and then I would start feeling uncomfortable, you know? So, I mean, um, so I took that one small, or seemingly small, experience within myself, and I applied the tools of self honesty and writing and self forgiveness and self correction to actually test for myself, and see how and if I can actually change this experience within myself and change myself in relation to this individual. And what I found was that, in fact, it's possible. I mean, if I apply these tools in specific steps, in a specific format for myself, and then I can actually, change who I am. Uh, so, what I'm doing in this step, the fourth step in my process, is basically I'm looking back on my process that I've already walked, the three previous steps, and I'm assessing for myself and evaluating where it is that I've changed and if I've actually changed, and thus basically assessing if this process of self change has actually worked and if the tools have actually worked. Where, I mean, you know, so what I've done is basically I've taken a piece of paper, or I mean, I've written down on my computer in a Word document all the points that I can see that have in fact changed within myself. Which is, for instance, the point of where, I mean, when I was around this person and I started writing out my experiences, specifically what I found in the second step as the personality system that was hiding behind the initial experience of social anxiety and uncomfortability and inferiority, was that actually what I was doing when I was in the presence of that person was that I was comparing myself to her in terms of, where I used my desire to have a relationship with someone, or the beliefs that I've allowed to exist within myself in terms of believing that, if you have a relationship with, if you have a partner, then your life is more valuable than the life of someone who doesn't have a partner. So I didn't have a partner, so I compared myself to her in that way, and I felt inferior because I believed that she has a partner, so she's better than me and she's superior to me. So, I mean, when I look at that point, I can actually see that that's no longer present within myself. I do not place value within that aspect anymore. And in terms of that, I see that I can actually see her more as an actual individual when I'm around her, which is pretty cool, that I no longer see her as just someone who has a partner, and I no longer see her as, or in terms of those parameters and value judgments that I had created in my mind. So now it's like I can more relate to her in terms of realizing and seeing that she's also just a being, just like me. And so that is definitely a cool point to see for myself as a fact that, I've actually changed myself within that and changed my entire perception and experience of my environment and my reality within that one point, which is pretty damn cool. So when I look at what hasn't changed, so I mean, that's, what I did in my Word document is, so the point, I've written down the point of what has changed, which is, for instance, that experience of inferiority in relation to those subconscious belief systems and thoughts about, she's having a relationship, so she's better than me because I don't have a relationship. And then I wrote down the points of what hasn't changed. And what I find is that the point that is still present within myself when I'm in her presence is this experience of inferiority, where I still tend to, it's like when specific thoughts come up in my mind of, for instance, I don't know what to say to her, or I don't know how to communicate to her, and thoughts in relation to what is she thinking about me, where I go into an experience of inferiority towards her, and followed by a form of anxiety. So within this, I can see that there's still basically a point within myself in relation to her that I've not yet dealt with sufficiently, that I've not yet corrected sufficiently, that I've not yet, in other words, taken responsibility for. Meaning that, what I found in terms of when change is real, or when change can actually be real, is that the key point and the key factor is always the point of realizing that I'm responsible for how I feel and experience myself, and realizing that I'm responsible for everything of how I observe and how I see, realize, and see and perceive my environment and my external reality. So, the fact that I'm still reacting emotionally to this individual, and I'm still overwhelmed by specific thoughts when I'm in their presence, and the fact that I'm still seeing and perceiving them in a way that triggers and activates emotional reactions within myself means that there is a point within my own mind that I haven't yet taken responsibility for, and that I'm now projecting onto her and basically blaming her for how I feel now. So the next step will thus be to take those points where I see that I haven't changed within this process and again apply all the tools and change and correct those points that I see haven't changed. So that in that way I can, make sure that my process of self-change is actually real, and that I'm actually recreating myself, and that I'm actually manifesting my own inner self in a way that is best for myself and in a way that I can live with and that, I can accept. Okay, so if you're curious in relation to how to walk the specific process of self-change, and if you want to know how to apply the tools, you can find support at the Destiny website. And I would also suggest to go through my blogs and my vlogs, where you can find a blueprint of how I've walked this process, which I find to be quite effective if you want to make sure that your change, your inner change, is in fact real. That you can find in my writing and my vlogging. Okay, so enjoy. Thank you very much.